Joining us now, News Nation contributor and veteran political strategist Kurt Bardella. Good morning to you on this Labor Day. Looking at the overall impact of this, is it more bark than bite when it comes down to how it actually reframes and reshapes the electoral process?
I think, if anything, one of the dangers for the Republican majority is you are doing something that is going to incite and excite your opposition. One of the main fundamental rules in campaigns is never do anything that motivates the other side to show up even more. And when the perception is amongst Democrat voters is that you're trying to rig this a little bit, you're trying to make it easier, you're trying to get something underhanded to get an advantage, it's just going to fuel their intensity to turn out to vote. And what we've seen in every election since Donald Trump came onto the political scene, when he is not on the ballot, Republican turnout drops, Democrat turnout actually stays the same or goes up a little bit. And here, Republicans are handing Democrats something that will motivate their turnout in the midterm election cycle and also might give Republicans a false sense of security. It might steer away any urgency that Republican voters might normally have to show up to vote to protect their majority. Well, if you're doing all these redistricting things, the average voter might just go, oh, they got this. I don't even need to worry about it. And their turnout might be low.
And because this has gotten so sticky, I mean, the idea of gerrymandering, I mean, it's been around for a long time, but the hope that we could have an independent commission be part of that process moving forward, does that get further and further in the rearview mirror?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, governors right now just kind of do the bidding of their political parties, saying, "Well, if you do this, then I'm going to do that, and if this state does that, well, I'm going to call my special session," and just becomes kind of an arms race where you kind of cancel each other out. I've always believed that our system works best when voters pick politicians, not politicians picking voters. And right now, that's what you're having happening, and it's incredibly anti-democratic. It's completely contrary to what the logistical purpose of redistricting is supposed to be, how it's supposed to align every 10 years in coordination with the census. This doing this now opens Pandora's box so that if power were to perhaps, change either at the governor level, a state level, or federally, what's to stop that government from saying, we're going to have redistricting right now? It just opens up a precedent where what's the end game here? Everyone's just going to do it in perpetuity. So nothing ultimately is going to get done.
Yeah, a slippery slope. I want to get your thoughts on crime in big cities right now. Chicago in the crosshairs of the administration and the governor at odds over how to tackle crime. Is this more about political posturing, Kurt, in your mind, versus actual safety?
Well, if the president were deploying these same assets to red states and municipalities that actually have higher crime rates, higher violent crime, murder rates per capita than these Democrat led cities, then I would say it's about crime. But the fact that right now, to this point, the only conversation seems to be about Democrat cities makes it look political and partisan to me. All throughout the Southwest of this country and rural areas, there's a massive spike in violent murderous crime in red districts. And no one seems to be talking about that on the president's side of the aisle. So it makes me wonder, why are you just targeting Democrats unless it's just a partisan political power flex?
Do you expect a move on this in Congress to address crime? And will there be intervention as lawmakers head back to Washington this week?
I think that, again, Democrats, there's only so much they can do because Donald Trump's entire presidency so far has been about expanding the power of the executive branch, challenging whatever norms were left from, before Trump won, and seeing if anyone can actually stop him. To this point, we have seen the president able to act pretty unilaterally. There's been not a lot of actual resistance. Sure, there is some symbolic protesting going on, but from an actual legislative standpoint, that could actually change an outcome. That really isn't something that's been happening. And in a lot of ways, it's the state's battle to fight. There's only so much Congress in itself is going to be able to do, especially for Democrats, since they're in the minority anyway and they don't control anything.
All right. Again, we expect some protest as the president looks to crack down on big cities today. Chicago, LA, New York among them. Kurt Bardella, as always, thank you.